I won't get in that, deriving 7 from 12. So building a scale with consistent spacing. So now you've got the major scale selects 7 out of 12 equal spaced notes. So now we've got all the parts on the table using our analogy. Now I can measure in hertz. I can use the ratios. I've got 12 notes. I've got my instrument. I've got my rulers properly set up that has equal spacing to it. Am I going to go back now and build my instrument, build my engine using the same historical process that was used as the information was brought, not by a boat, but by history, by discovery? No, I don't think I am, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, look, now I can make a rational argument to say, look, if we should use a 12-note system because that just makes sense, and it's beautiful that you could now take 7 notes from the 12 notes, deriving the scale from the 12 notes. So I'm no longer going to build the 7 notes first just because that's the thing that was shipped over to us first, and that's all I had to work with. Right now I have everything to work with. No, I'm going to take the 12 units first and then derive from it the 7 units. You see? Okay, so the pattern whole half is what we derive. So now instead of us basically using the ratios to come up with the 7 notes, we're going to take the 12 notes and say, look, we can just apply the pattern to the 12 notes to derive the scale that they came up with historically with this ratio analysis. That's the origin of this formula. It's perfect fifths stacked on top of each other and then taking all those notes and cramming them together, which now, instead of doing that, we're going to take the 12 notes and then simply apply the formula, right, to derive it. So again, so that means functionally, that's how you want to do it. You want to start with the 12 notes and then apply the formula. So the spacing provides melodic motion without crowding notes too closely. So intuitively, this makes sense as well, because you would expect if you break the octave into 12 units, that you would then take every other unit would give you a nice stepping sound upwards. That makes sense, although you would want some variation, and having 2 half steps, which one here and one when you go back to the root, gives you at least some variation so it's not too static. So just from an aesthetic standpoint, it looks like a great series as well. It's not too many. 24 would be a lot of notes. 12 seems right. We can derive the 7-note scales that was historically what was derived from them perfectly, or not perfectly, but well enough. And so that looks good. So the stepwise motion with tension and resolution. So the use of half steps, 2 in the scale, adds variation, meaning there's 2 half steps. So usually we have whole steps and then 2 half steps. All right, functional versus historical perspective, a balanced view. So historically then, if we go back to our analogy, what happened historically? Then it's just like shipping in the parts to build the engine. They first came up with the shipment of, oh my goodness, I figured out that I can break the string up and I can come up with these ratios. So then they use that, oh my goodness, I can stack the perfect fifths, leading to the 7-note scale before we can break out the octave into equal units, because we didn't have measurements to do it, such as measuring in hertz, for example. But functionally, we now see the 7 notes as selection from the 12. But, so see what I mean? So we're going to say, I believe that although it was done in this order historically, if I was to make the argument in a court of law, innocent till proven guilty, I can make the case that a rational set of juries would say that it would make sense to learn it, not starting with the 7 notes, but starting with the 12 notes, because I already have that information. It's on the table now. I don't want to repeat it historically, dogmatically, just because that's the way it happened throughout history. I want to learn it the way that functionally is easiest to make the engine to learn it fastest so I can do stuff with it. So understanding both perspectives allows musicians to adopt and innovate, build new modes and tuning systems, break rules with purpose. So notice that some people take this concept too far And I want to point this out as well, because this is where the relativists come in, and they throw out the whole court concept theory altogether. And, the theory is innocent until proven guilty. You accept the wisdom of history until you can build a preponderance of evidence to prove that something should be done differently. The people that are cultural relativists want to say, no, it's all equal. There is no hierarchy of basically how we should be treating the weight of an argument. Obviously, if an argument has been made throughout history and has been used, that's the argument that has weight to it. That's the one that you have to have a preponderance of evidence greater than in order to beat it. It's not like it's equal. It's not like, I'm just going to say this random thing and you can't prove it's wrong. You have to come over here and prove it's wrong, right? It's like, no, I don't need to go over there and prove it's wrong, because you are the one that has the responsibility to make the argument that it's right, because you're saying something different than what has historically happened. They're not equal, right? You accept the historic thing is the thing that we accept until you make an argument to propose why something should be different. Otherwise, you can go over here and yell all you want, and if you're not going to make that argument, then what are you doing? The likelihood that you're correct is like ridiculously low. So it's nonsense, right? Anyway,